The place where you come for the crucial conversations that Erie needs. It's the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State, also live on YouTube and on Facebook. And I'm glad to welcome back to our microphones Brian Johansson. He is the CEO of the Erie City Mission. Brian, welcome back and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you. It's
2 weeks away.
I can't believe it's a year went by already. It's amazing.
When did you arrive last year?
I've been here 2 years,
2 years, right?
as of November 1st.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And we met you soon after
You
that.
did. Yep.
And what, in a nutshell, what would you say have been some of the biggest learnings of 2 years on the ground in Erie?
Well, I've come to the conclusion that we love Erie. And I say that honestly, that it's such a generous town, and I say that from a nonprofit perspective, but also we really enjoy Erie because of Warner Theater and the Otters and the Seawolves. It's a small city that has a lot of big city stuff, and we really enjoy. My wife and I, we love Erie and enjoy. We're still looking for the subway because I haven't been able to find that, but I'm told it's here somewhere. But other than that, we love Erie.
Yeah, we're more of a bus town, although I tell you what, we were one of the first electric trolley towns.
Is that right?
When you look back at the history.
Interesting.
We should have kept one of. I missed.
Yeah,
that would have been fun. So when you look at the kind of the bread and butter of what you do at the mission, which is feed people, house people, help people in addiction. Are we moving the needle to more health, or is the need so great that we're just kind of keeping up with it?
It's a great question. So when I look at the mission, I tell my little elevator speeches, we have two arms. One arm is this compassionate care arm. So that's what the mission is known for. Meals, we did 140,000 meals last year. Nights of shelter, about 40,000 nights of shelter out of the cold. We do a lot of pantry. Pantry's been very active lately for obvious reasons. But the other arm that a lot of people don't know us for is this transformational arm. We really put a lot of effort into taking a person who's willing to make changes in their life and helping them through the course of a year, educationally, spiritually, job readiness, getting a job, getting housing. Last year we helped 104 people get employment and 170 people get housing.
Wow.
So when you think about are we moving the needle? The reality is I believe we are, because I think we're not just stopping at that meal and that bed, which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I believe that's, it all begins with a meal, we like to say. If we can do that with dignity, somebody might take the next step into addressing issues in their life.
You have a free lunch every day, right?
Every breakfast and lunch every day.
And so what does that look like? I guess I'm trying to use you kind of as a leading indicator of where Erie is at when it comes to our most vulnerable,
So I can tell you trends that we're seeing now, because we started tracking since I came, children and women and elderly. So we're starting to get some, rather than just a person, what kind of numbers are we looking at? And we're seeing more women and children in the last 2 years coming in for meals, especially more elderly coming in for the pantry. So we have a pantry that we provide every single day, no questions asked. So there's no, what's your social security number? Have you been here before? If you need food, we're going to give you food.
Wow.
And so we serve 100+ people a day coming in, going through the line, and all this food that we get is donated. So we go to have trucks that go around and pick up food from Sam's Club and Country Fair and all these generous places that support us. It all goes directly out the door the next day to the people that need it. Bread, meat, vegetables,
So
pastries.
these are a lot of the perishable stuff.
Correct. Oh yeah,
Okay.
going right, milk, all the things
Yeah.
that you, and so a lot of people are lining up. So to answer your question, I'm seeing more folks looking for that tangible help because they're making the choice between rent and medication and food, and they're relying on the mission and other organizations like the food bank and others for food. But I see a lot of families, more families, elderly coming in, which is heartbreaking. The issue of homelessness in America is not going away.
Yeah.
It's getting more. So HUD estimates a 12% growth year over year from last year to this year in the numbers of homeless.
12%?
Correct. And then we're seeing of those homeless in America, 28% of them, almost a third, are women. So this is a new trend in our society. You know, the adage of the old bum, 25 years ago, it's now becoming women who are running from domestic violence, or there's a lot of drug and alcohol issues, and there's economic issues. People lost their job or went through a tough time, and we're seeing those issues in our right down on the ground at the mission.
Yeah, I mean, you've had the Grace House, you've had outreach to women,
correct?
But it sounds like that you're attempting to rise to
correct.
that challenge.
Yeah, well, I was challenged by our board. We have a wonderful board of directors, godly men and women who really believe in what we're doing. They challenged me to say, come up with where the mission should go in the next 3 to 5 years. What should we be doing? And we really researched it for about a year. I hired somebody to work with me to research it. We came up with 3 objectives of all the research we had. And one was our residents who are in our program, we have 125 beds, are not getting the educational resources they need to make the transition into employment. So we invested in creating a learning center, hired a teacher, we have GED, we have resume writing, we have job interview skills, we have job placement. All of these things are now happening at the mission. Second, we realized that there is a epidemic of these housing of these encampments, homeless encampments in Erie, that, we have a lot of. If you go on our website at www.eriemission.org, you'll see some of these videos about the outreach we created as an objective of the strategic plan was to go out weekly, multiple times a week, with volunteers and staff and engage these homeless encampments. We've discovered there are 14 main homeless encampments in Erie. We've engaged 96 unique individuals. So these are individuals we've encountered many times, but I'm just saying unique individuals, of which, along with the city's stats or the country stats, about 25 of them are women. So you think about, this is somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, and they are out there in these encampments, generally because of some kind of drug or alcohol issue or some kind of mental health issue. Let's be honest, that's what's going on. But these are living in deplorable conditions. Often the women are being trafficked by some men in those areas for wrong, nefarious things. And we're out there every week reaching out. We did 398 homeless encampment visits last year. 398 visits.
Unreal.
And we're building relationships with these individuals. And of the 96, 10 of them accepted our offer for help. So they said, I will come back and get a shower, get into a program, go to a detox, whatever it was. So it shows the challenge and the strength of addiction, that they would rather sleep in a shack or a tent in 13-degree weather than receive help that I'm offering you. But that's a whole nother discussion. And then the third objective of the strategic plan was, we need to build some housing for women and children who are in crisis. And so we have now started this plan to research. We have an architect on board now who is helping us figure out how to build some housing for these emergencies of women and children who are in bad situations. We get calls from the police. I've got a mom and 2 kids in a minivan in the Walmart parking lot on the east side. Can you help her? At this moment, I can't. And I don't want to say I
Right,
can't. I want to
right.
be able to say I've got a place for her that she can stay as long as she needs to while we help her get the next step. So our goal here is in the next year or two to really build something or find something or find a building to renovate or something to where we can actually begin to minister to women more than Grace House. So Grace House
Right.
is our long-term program, but there's no children involved. It's more women who don't have children with them. Most of the women have children; they've been taken away from them, but we don't have resources for women. So that's our goal.
So, well, you know that we cover the entire the entire community here, and we hear a lot about this piece. I mean, it's maybe one of our top 3 stories is dealing with the homelessness in Erie.
Yep.
And I mean, we have. It seems like every little slice is happening. We got the tiny homes that the county executive built. We have the overnight shelter that EUMA is involved with. We have Mercy Center for Women, doing
Wonderful.
stuff. I mean, like all these things. But what I'm hearing from you is, they're all great, but the need is just greater.
Well, that too, and I agree with you, and I agree with you that there are a lot of wonderful organizations in Erie that are serving and have wonderful programs for people. For us at the mission, my focus is on what I would consider transitional housing for people. I am not interested in taking somebody off of the corner of State Street and putting them into their own apartment without the resources they need, without the drug addiction treatment that they need, without creating an environment where they can be successful. So we have put all of our resources into creating this transitional housing model at the mission where somebody comes in, they're coming right from detox, they're coming right from Glen Bay, they're coming right from a place where they've been doing treatment, and they come into this program for 9 months to a year. And you're going to have a caseworker. You're going to have a person that loves you. You're going to have a job to do in the mission. You're going to get GED lessons. You're going to have spiritual input in your life, so that when it gets to the point you are ready to graduate, you're going to graduate with a job. You're going to go out, and then you can live with us for up to a year after that.
Wow.
And save money. We have a system where a guy has to save 50% of his check with us each week. It's not going to me.
Right.
It's gaining interest for you when you get ready to move out. To me, that is creating a sustainable exit path for that person.
That's that New Life program that has been around.
And that's why we
But
believe
they
in it.
have to kind of reach that
Correct.
minimum of getting through detox and,
Correct.
and being
They have
successful.
to want to do that. They have to want to do that.
Wow. And yeah, I mean, if they're courageous enough to go through that, we can reach them.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
we're seeing a lot of success with that.
We're talking to Brian Johansson. We're going to take our first break here. It's a Thursday edition of the Joel Natale Show. Stay with us. We're talking to Brian Johansson. He is the CEO of the Erie City Mission, and as we learned when we first met him, he is got that big city background. You've served for many years in your hometown of New York City, but also served in Pittsburgh and some other
Correct.
folks,
Yeah.
right?
I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah,
and went to grad school and grad school, and ended up working for a large construction company. Did well, and young guy, got married, and 10 years later, my wife and I are like, there's all these homeless people in our neighborhood that we're just stepping over, and we really felt compelled to make a change. And so I, to the shock of everyone, left what I was doing and went to work for the Bowery Mission, which is an old, historic, gigantic mission down in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and spent 21 years there. And, in the last 5 years there, my wife and I actually moved into the mission and lived on the top floor, having dinner every night with our homeless guests. And our daughter had gone to college. And so we loved, she'll tell you that was the best 5 years of our marriage. We just totally enjoyed living in that environment with them. So, it was time for my wife to come back to her roots in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah. And so we moved back this way, and we love being in Erie. We really do enjoy Erie.
Yeah. So. Do you find that the lived experience of a homeless person in New York City is that much different from Erie?
No. There's a lot of folks in the subways in Erie. I was telling earlier in the break that the homeless system in Erie has 100,000 beds.
In New York.
In New York has 100,000 beds. More than people live in Erie. I think it's like 90,000,
95,000, yeah,
and more beds for the homeless population in Erie, and it's still growing, and it's still an issue in New York. So yeah, it's homelessness is a crisis. What bothers me most is the women and the veterans. To me, we as a country need to do a better job in loving our veterans. That there's that many homeless veterans out in our encampments and homeless. That breaks my heart.
Talk about the pushback that I'm sure you hear, though, that these are just, it's accumulation of bad choices, and this is this is the bed that they've made.
Yeah, and I'm not going to disagree with you. I think there are some of my peers maybe in the market that would say, well, there's a lot of factors. I say, yeah, but at the end of the day, there were some choices there. Yeah, we've all got trauma. Not that that's not an issue, but I think when we look at the missions and our focus on faith, how would Jesus deal with that person? And I think at the end of the day, when a person walks through your door looking for help, is not the time to say, well, you're there because you made this bad decision. Right. It's like, let me get you a shower. Let me get you a night's sleep. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how we can prevent you going down this road, right? Yeah. To me, that's the take on it. And a lot of us want to make answers. We're wired to come up with an answer, right? So
I'm going to give you the solution that's going to work for you.
So why are you where you're at?
Right.
And I know you made a bad choice. Well, who of us haven't made bad choices? And I think it's all but for the grace of God that we are not in that encampment. That's how I truly believe that. God has, for some reason, looked out for us and helped us make better choices. But I find it hard to judge in that moment of crisis. I'm not making excuses for that person at all. You have to answer for that. But at the end of the day, when that person comes through the door and they're intoxicated, freezing, now is not the time to say, you know what, you're there and you deserve what you get. I just don't know that that's the right approach.
Yeah.
I think there has to be love with accountability. I think that's what the Bible teaches us. There's, tell the truth in love, right? So there has to be love and accountability.
But there's also a sequence. I again, we're bringing up scripture here. I think about the woman at the well.
Yep.
And again, there's Jesus asking her for something. Of course, he has everything.
Correct.
But he's asking her for something, which immediately gives her value.
Right.
Right. That's the first thing he does.
Yeah.
he is. I'm preaching at the preacher,
Yeah, no, I
but
hear you.
yeah, I mean he is assigning value from that person.
Yeah.
And then he speaks truth to her.
Right.
Yet he doesn't condemn her.
But he knows everything about her. See,
Yeah.
that's the other thing too, is he knows all the mistakes she's made.
Yeah.
Right? And it tells us in the scriptures those mistakes she had made. He already knows that. He knows everything. But yet he didn't judge her.
Right.
He had a conversation with her, and that encounter with Jesus at that well changed her life. So one encounter, and at the mission, I've used this. It's interesting you brought that up. I've said our goal is to introduce an individual to the person of Jesus Christ, and that encounter is our prayer will change their life, that they will see a life transformation in their life. We're not going to force it down your throat. We're going to love you, whatever you believe. But at the end of the day, that's the power we believe in, that life transformation power of the gospel. We truly believe that at the mission, and we're unapologetic about that.
Kindness, having resources, being free with, that's why. How many turkey dinners are you passing
So
out
we're
this year?
going to do we're doing two things for Thanksgiving. One is the famous turkey giveaway.
Yeah.
So we're going to do 1,200
1,200.
what we call boxes of love, which is everything you need to make a Thanksgiving dinner for a family with a turkey, a Bible, potatoes, pies, everything you need to make a dinner, 1,200 of them. And that'll be on Monday in the morning from about the Monday the 24th before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it'll be right before the Thanksgiving holiday. But the day before Thanksgiving, we started something last year, which I brought from New York, which was we do this restaurant-style meal for our community. Most people come in and they go through the line, not a whole lot of personal touch there, right? We bring people in, we have maitre d's, we sit them down, we decorate the tables, they come in, volunteers bring them in, we serve 400 or 500 people, and waiters will bring your dinner to your table. What do you need? Fill your drink. Do you need a piece of pie? Do you need coffee? When was the last time a person that we work with sat in a restaurant and had somebody serve them?
Amazing.
And so that's what we're going to do on the day before, at lunchtime on the day before Thanksgiving.
So much gratitude being shared there. We're talking to Brian Johansson. Going to take our news break. It's Talk Erie. Brian Johansson is with us on Talk Erie on the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here. It's always fitting to talk to the CEO of the Erie City Mission around Thanksgiving. And let's just face it, this is an important time for the mission and other agencies. You know, I mean, a lot of your annual budget is raised in the holiday season and so on. Talk about how we can be tangibly supportive of your work.
Yeah, so for a lot of nonprofits, you know, the last quarter of the year, so October, November, December, they generally bring in 40 or 50% of their yearly revenue for the whole organization because it's a generous season. I think the mission is is the same, and so we rely on folks' generosity. Erie is a very generous town. But, you know, for instance, like all the turkeys we're going to give out this week, next week, you know, we worked with Maple Vale to purchase those at wholesale prices and try to, but if somebody wanted to donate some money to us to say, hey, I'll help you with buying a few turkeys, we'd love to. Yeah. We'd love to have that. I mean, we're always looking, and I can tell you the mission has such integrity that anything people give goes directly to the people that need it. I mean, I think the ratios for our organization are very healthy as far as how we spend our money and where it goes. So have the highest ratings on Charity Navigator and all these different things. So we work hard at that to make sure that we're a reliable source. But yeah, anybody who wants to support us in a fiscal way, financial way, we would definitely welcome that. But we also are always in need of toiletry items for our residents. We're in need of coats and hats and gloves and scarves and those kinds of things for those who come to us looking for help. I mean, we had a couple that was in our hallway this morning when I came in that was looking for coats. Wow. And you think about last night, what was it, 20 degrees last night? Yeah. And they didn't have coats, so there are people that are struggling. And again, we can say, well, there's choices you made that I agree with you. We're on the same page. But when a person's out and it's 20 degrees, I'm not going to ask them what you did wrong. I'm going to say, here's a coat.
Yeah. Talk about the kind of the what do you call that, Samaritan care and so on. That is, where if you need a bed, especially if you're a male, what has been stark to me over the 35 years that I have been connected with the mission at some level or another is 35 years ago, you would more likely see an older gentleman who, maybe had an addiction problem, but they would be who you would see at the mission. You go to a mission banquet or a fundraiser or something like that now, and it's young people that, man, some of them have had trajectories that were like amazing, and then a crisis hits, or talk about all that.
No, it's true. The Samaritan's Care is our shelter, low barrier shelter for men, which brings up the whole thing. We don't have a low barrier shelter for women, which is part of our objective of the strategic plan. But we take in folks for 60, 90 days. Some of them are working. Some of them have just gotten evicted, whatever the issue is. But you're exactly right. The average age of a person in our men's programs is about 35 to 40. So you think about that's not the 70-year-old, alcoholic that you remember. We have guys that are aging out of foster care. Right, so this is an issue for us.
This is a big issue, isn't it?
Men are, young men, 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're approaching the mission for some place to live, right? And whatever happened in their life, and whatever, a child, I don't know what mistakes they can make. They don't have a choice, right?
Right. Yeah.
When you're young, and here they are in foster care, and then they age out of the system. And I know there's a lot of programs to try to help them, but some of them fall through the cracks, and they end up at the mission. 19 years old. I was talking to a guy the other day. When I was 19, I was ready to take on the world, right?
Right.
I was heading to college, and 19 years old, they're walking into the Erie City Mission. So this is a challenging time. I think for our women, the age is actually younger. That we're seeing women come into our long-term program that are younger, that are challenged in those issues. We do.
I mean, is it prescription drugs? Is it access to opioids? We have meth. We have a meth problem in
I've used
rural
this
areas.
example in another interview where let's take 100 homeless people. It's my experience, and this is where some people I will disagree, that 80 to 85% of those people have some kind of life-controlling issue, whether that's addiction, whether that's alcoholism, and then I have some or mental health, or the combination of those two. Right?
When you say mental health, what does that mean?
I mean, we have people that are. There's a man that walks up and down State Street talking to himself. I mean, this is schizophrenia, right? So that's a severe mental health issue that's not being treated. And again, I'm not faulting anybody. I'm sure many people are trying, but the guy is walking down State Street talking to himself. I've seen it. Yeah. This is happening, and this is why this person is homeless. So 85 of those 100 are dealing with some kind of addiction or mental health issue. 15% are dealing with some kind of eviction, some kind of economic issue. Domestic violence is a big issue where mothers and kids are fleeing in the middle of the night to try to get to a safe. So this is what we have. Yeah. I think a lot of folks that I or my peers would disagree and say, well, we don't think that it's that high. I'm only telling you from 35 years in this industry, that is the challenge that we have. And so you asked what kind of drugs. We're seeing a lot of meth in this area in Erie. Cocaine and heroin, obviously, prescription drugs. I don't know that that's as much of an issue as it was, but it's also the prescription drugs were always a gateway to something harder. Yeah. I mean, that was always the course of action.
Does it worry you, again, as a practitioner and for so many years, the kind of the laissez-faire approach to pot? Like, is pot a gateway that you've seen?
It's controversial for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think somehow they have proven that there are some medicinal benefits to it. But as with anything, I think that it gets manipulated and abused. And I think we have a lot of folks that have medical marijuana cards that, are using it to get high, to be honest with you. Yeah. And so at the Mission, we've been very diligent to work with our residents who come in our program that we're not really supporting them on what was called MAT, medically assisted treatment. So Suboxone and some of these other drugs, methadone was a famous one. We're really saying unless you're willing to get off that and willing to kind of move into sobriety, true sobriety, then this might not be the place for you because we're not going to encourage that. And there's a lot of people out there that would disagree with me. Right. But that's where we are at the Mission.
One of the things that I've picked up over these years is that the mission's program, the New Life program, it is one of the most effective out there, if not the most effective out there. Again, there's a 12-step part of this.
Correct.
But talk about why. Is it the faith quotient?
Well, I mean, we're not requiring people to accept the faith piece of what we do. They have to participate in it, but it's not like
so you go to chapel, right?
We've had Muslim men come into the Mission. We've had Hindus. The challenge for us is we're just going to present the gospel in a tangible way to them in front of us, mainly by living it out in front of them as a staff. Yeah, and that's the basic way. But I think the thing I like about the Mission program is it's holistic. So it's saying we're not just going to deal with one piece of this. We're going to deal with everything from detox to some kind of educational component, job training. They all have some kind of task that they, like work. They have to, contribute back. I'm not charging. That's another thing about the Mission is I don't charge anybody anything to come to the Mission. It's completely free. Yeah. Because we have generous people who are out there, some of your listeners, that say, I believe in what the Mission does. Most, if not all, other programs are insurance-based. Right. So they're working on, what will the insurance cover? And I'm not faulting them for that either. But the Mission has made a conscious decision not to partner with insurance, not to take government grants. 95% of our funding comes from individuals, churches, foundations, businesses. 5% comes from a couple of county grants and things for our shelter. We do that because that keeps us independent. Yeah. that keeps us very accountable to our donors who say, I believe in what you do, so much so that I'm happy that you're not taking that money, because it keeps you on the straight and narrow. Because I don't want to be part of something that's going to have to adjust my programming in order to get that grant. I don't want to do that, and we haven't had to do that.
One of the joys every year is to come to the City Mission banquet, where you hear these stories of new life. And what is not surprising, but it is like something that I learn is that, I think one of the fellows that was celebrated was part of the mission program, I want to say close to 10 years ago.
Alumni.
And it was an alumni, and he was being honored this year.
Yep. Because
this thing doesn't end.
Well,
it's a lifestyle that you're trying to once you get to sobriety, you have to maintain it. And
we're working on gathering more data on that, because I think that's a very important part. If I can show that a person going through our program is clean and sober a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, right? They're still working. They're involved in a church. They're saving money. They bought a house. To me, this is the life transformation.
Yeah, right.
It's not about behavior modification. Well, I'm going to help you not get high today. Oh, okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. God has so much more for your life than not just getting high today. I want to see your life transformed into what the purpose was for your life. It's not to get high. It's not to live in a tent by the railroad tracks. It's to have a purpose in your life. And that's what the mission is about.
Okay, so let's say we gathered the city fathers and mothers, and again, I think you're in these conversations. The home team, the folks that are involved with the homelessness issues.
Yep.
But to the laity, they're still encountering folks that make them nervous at Perry Square, or going to Arby's, or how do we process that? First off, can we do better in addressing the felt needs of folks that are without the unhoused, if you will?
Well, 2 points on that.
Yeah.
One is, I, as a original businessman, right? So I came from that world. Understand the challenge of running a business on State Street, right? So I understand that. Like, they have to open their doors, and the issue of homelessness and vagrancy is a hindrance to the business in downtown. I've talked with many business leaders here over the last 2 years. I've been to different clubs and different associations and spoken to their boards about how the mission can be a support to them. But the first thing I want to say is, we're not, as a mission, we are not unaware of the challenges that they have. The second thing is if you engage with somebody or you see somebody, we all have a spark of compassion in us, right? Some of the spark is bigger, some of it's not so big.
Right.
But we all have a spark of compassion. If you see somebody, the question I always get asked is, what should I do?
Yeah.
So I told somebody the other day, I said, so you giving them that $10 or that $20, I can tell you right now with almost certainty that is not going to transform their life. That's not going to go to something that is going to help them. It's generally, in my experience, I should say, is going to go to something that's not going to help them. It could be a drug, it could be alcohol. I mean, I think if we're naive if we don't see that. I think the question I would say is, well, then what can I do? Well, I don't see anything wrong with getting somebody a sandwich and giving them a sandwich. I don't see anything wrong with buying them a cup of coffee. But I also would say, direct them to the City Mission, because the City Mission can do anything that they need to help them get their life right. And I would challenge that person, say, I really feel bad that you're out here on this corner. I know that the City Mission can give you what you need. A meal, a bed, a shower, job training, GED training, get you a job, help you save money, get you an apartment. I mean, that to me is point A to point B.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, well, here's $20, it made me feel good, right? Which,
Right.
again, I'm not faulting that. I'm not.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have a compassion. I'd rather you give them $1 or $2 for the bus fare and say, I think you need to go to the city mission. The city mission exists for what you're dealing with right now. That's why we exist, is to help whatever it is you're dealing with right now. Now, most will not want that help, but if they keep hearing that, maybe I better go check out this mission thing.
Right.
That's what I would say.
That that is extremely helpful because, I mean, again, some of these people are in the neighborhood every day, right? And
we used to have in New York the famous squeegee men. I don't know if you have them here.
Yeah, I heard
Back
of
in
them.
the 80s and 90s, it was a big thing. And, they would come up and aggressively start squeegeeing your window. I remember getting out as a young guy, having fights with guys, start touching my car, before Jesus saved my life. But the reality is there's an aggressiveness sometimes.
Yeah, right.
And I think there's no call for that. I think, if that's happening, then you need to kind of exit the area. There's no need for somebody to be aggressive.
I get concerned about like the young Gannon women students that are in the neighborhood, you know.
And they might have compassion. I want to help this guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, sadly, the drug addiction piece of this comes with massive manipulation. There's a lot. I mean, we deal with it every single day at the mission. So we're working with men and women who are master manipulators. And a lot of people don't want to hear this, right? Well, how can you talk about it? Because that's the reality. Yeah. Unless we deal with that, we're never going to see a life transformation. So if they're out there trying to manipulate to get what they want, you're part of that.
Yeah.
And I would say direct them to the city mission.
And that's the place where true transformation
Correct.
can happen.
We have our outreach teams going out through Perry Square, going up and down State Street now, as I realize that that's an issue. As in addition to the encampments, almost 100 people living in those encampments in Erie.
Unreal.
I mean, that's what we're finding. That's what our data is showing, what our statistics are showing. It's tragedy.
If people want to support the mission at Thanksgiving, Christmas, end of the year.
The website is the basic way to get in contact with us. It's a great website, and eriemission.org is pretty simple and has everything. If you'd like to donate there, it's very simple. 2 clicks, and you can help do that. If you'd like to find out information on there about things we need, supplies we need, those kinds of things, the lists are on there as well. There's also some wonderful videos on there that you saw at the banquet, talking about some of these life transformations. I mean, wasn't the one about the young girl, Brenda?
Unreal.
That's powerful,
Yes.
right? I mean, just the reconnection with her family and all these things and the years of drug addiction that she had, and to see her life, she just looks different. I mean, I've seen her in 2 years, what God has done in her life. It's just amazing, actually. So, go on the website, and there's a lot of good material on there.
Brian Johansson, the CEO of the Erie City Mission, thanks so much.
Oh, my privilege.
You got it. And happy Thanksgiving, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So we're